Hello there, learners. How are you doing? I hope everything is fine and all goes well. Nowadays, these corona times are ending and everything is going to normal. So, I hope you're ready for everything for schools, for universities, for offices, for classes, and everything. So, today, the final lecture or final video of our Spring Boot tutorial series for a crude application with database. And today what we'll be doing is like we'll be discussing a simple crude application with some pages, some view pages with free marker template engine. We'll be using MongoDB, and then we'll be going through each and every section that how the application is working and how everything is working. So for that, what we are gonna do is like we are gonna go ahead with the application, and the contents for today would be we'll be choosing a database, then we'll be installing a database. These are the same parts or contents those we actually did previously. So choosing a database and installing a database, it would be like a simple introduction or simple few minutes or few seconds of an intro about it. Then we'll be adding dependencies for MongoDB, the database that we are going to use. We'll be adding dependencies into our POM file for Maven. For free marker template engine, we'll be creating a bean that would be used for the database connectivity. Like, what do I mean by bean is like if we are going to save records of office student or something like that, so we'll be creating a Java Pojo class for that. We'll be creating a repository is actually basically an extension of the MongoDB repository, so that we can use all the MongoDB repositories provided methods in our own repository. That would be for us a student repository. Then would be creating a handler is nothing but just controller. So we'll be creating a simple controller that would be handling the mappings for methods. So the other part, creating methods with mappings, is actually the method. So the controller with different methods, like for editing the record, for adding the record, and different mappings. And then we'll also be creating views for that. And there is one thing missing. So to connect the MongoDB, what we have to do is like we have to add our property files. So what we'll be doing is like we'll be adding properties. So we'll be adding connection properties for the MongoDB, and yeah, this would be our content for today, and I hope you guys are ready. So let's do it. So now what we are gonna do is like we are gonna go through all the points those we mentioned. So choosing a database with Spring, MVC and Java, what we can use easily is MySQL wisely used database, so we could do that. But instead of that, what we are gonna do is like we are gonna choose MongoDB, and then we are gonna stick with it. It's just MongoDB is widely used in the industry, and giving some introduction about it. And then Spring Boot is actually providing us a built-in repository for it. So all we have to do is like extend that repository and use all the functions provided by it. So it makes things easier for it. So since it is an introductory course, so what we are going to do is like we are going to make things easier. To make things easier, we are going to go with the databases those are easier to implement and use. So what we can do is like we can use, so what we are going to do is like we are going to use MongoDB. And for that, what you have to do is like you just have to go download MongoDB. I'll provide the link for it. So you just go into MongoDB website, just download it, and what you have to do is like just download the community server. So you select your operating system, whichever you want, and based on that you can select the package. For example, if you have Windows, just select whichever you want. Once you install it, afterwards what we are gonna do is like, so MongoDB is up and running, you have installed it, so it is up and running, for example. Now what we are going to do is like, we are going to add dependencies into our application so that we can use MongoDB. And with MongoDB, what we are going to use for our front end or for our views part is FreeMarker template engine. And for that, what we are going to do is like, we are going to add dependencies for that too. So we come here into our application. So here into this particular file POM, what we are going to do is like, we are going to add this particular dependency. This dependency is the dependency for MongoDB. So we just add this one, and then for the FreeMarker template engine, we use this dependency. Once we have these dependencies, we can use easily the MongoDB and FreeMarker template engine without any problems. Now, once we have set our FreeMarker dependency and our MongoDB, what we have to do is like, we have to tell our application so how FTL would work and how to fetch the views and where to look for the MongoDB. So to do that, what we have to do is like, we have to go through property files, and based on the property files, what we have to do is like, we have to select and add everything, like giving the identity of things like where is the MongoDB and all that. So we come here into application.properties. So we give our FreeMarker. First of all, we are going to go through the FreeMarker properties. So what is FreeMarker and all that. So what we are going to do is like, we gave it our FreeMarker template path, that where should we take our views from. So it is class path and templates, which is this particular folder. So here you can see we have, so okay, let me just change the, so here in our templates we'll have all the templates, and then the extension is FTL, so that if our name of the view is only add record, if we are giving our name of the view only add record, it would append .ftl in the end automatically, and then it will give us add record.ftl file. So this is what it will be doing. For now we don't see any templates and everything here because I have checked out the wrong version of our program. So what I'm gonna do is like, I'm gonna change it, but the property files is gonna be same. So let's go through the property files. Then there is this Spring Boot MongoDB host. So this particular file is Spring Boot MongoDB host is the file that will be used for, is the property that is saying that the MongoDB that is running on the local host, that is the MongoDB we are mapping to. So it can be running at some remote machine too. So for, if it is running on some remote machine, we have to give that particular host name. That could be host name, or that could be any IP and all that. So here, which port is it running on? So the port that MongoDB by default runs on is 27017. So you can change it. This is the database that we are gonna use. So I hope these properties are clear by now. So let's just change it. Let's just go and change this particular build and open the correct version. So for that, what we are gonna do is like, we just go documents, workspace, YouTube, open. So this particular open project from file system. Oh yes. So what we do is like we close this project, we delete this project. Now the project is gone. Now we open the project. Now the project should be open, and then it shouldn't have any problems and all that. So there should be resources. There it is. The resources are there, and there it is. Our application, our bean, our handler, our repository, and everything. So let's go one by one. So what we need is like we need a class, a bean, a Pojo class that we'll be using for our records. So for now what we are going to do is like we are going to create a simple bean, which is this one. So what we do is like we create a bean, a simple class with first name, last name, email, age, and we create setters and getters for it. We also need a particular field named as ID that we will be using in that database. We will be using MongoDB will be using for that it as a ID for the records to distinguish them. So it will be a unique for this for the database. So what we have to do is like we have to create a particular field, name it whatever you want, and then assign it ID annotation. So what ID does is like it tells MongoDB repository or MongoDB that this particular field will be storing the values for the unique key ID. So we have to tell our MongoDB that this particular class is used as the record for that particular collection. So the document collection is saying that this particular student class is being saved as a table, and it will be a whole collection of records into that particular student table. So this particular student also comes here in these properties. So this says that the database that we are going to use is student, and then that particular database will have documents named as a student, and they are this one. So it is just mapping each other so that MongoDB knows everything about each other. Then we are here. So this was only a bean with first name, last name, and email and everything, and their setter getters. Now what we are gonna do is like we are gonna create a repository. A repository is nothing, just simple like previously we created repositories for adding method, removing, for adding records, removing records, viewing records, and all that. For now what we are gonna do is like we are gonna also create another repository. Yes. So this is what a repository is, an interface. So what we did is like we created an interface into the MongoDB repository. So this extends the MongoDB repository. So with this what we can do is like we can use all the records. If you click MongoDB repository, you can see there are records like save all, there are methods like save all, find all, insert, save, and all that things. And this also extends this particular find all, and then this extends CRUD repository. So these things we can use all of these methods without defining our own. So MongoDB is already providing us these things. So we go back. So we can use all those methods, and we can use all these methods without even providing our implementations for them. So if we want to use find by ID, we can use it. Find by first name, we can use it. Find by age, we can use it. Find by email, we can use it without providing an implementation for these methods. These are there just so that in case if we want to increase the functionality of our class, functionality of our CRUD application, these methods were defined just for that. So we don't have to worry about them. We'll be using find by ID, by the way. So this is a simple student repository. Now we go into the handler. So into the handler we create a controller. There it is, a controller. Then we need a repository object to do all the things those we have to do into the repository. By all the things into the repository, I mean we are going to save the records into the MongoDB. For that we need an object and everything. So we have an object which is this particular object which extends MongoDB. As you can see, we have auto-wired, which means just create an object of that particular class or interface or whatever it is. So and based on that auto-wire them. So what it will do is like Spring would create an object, a bean for it, and then map that particular bean to this particular object. So afterwards what we have is like we have created a simple string variable and we have provided the value of redirect. So we'll be using it as an index page redirecting path. So whenever if we want to redirect something to index page, we'll just call this particular variable and that's it. Now we have multiple methods. So this request mapping, so it is just to get the records. So if you want to get all the records, so when we open that particular window, which will be like whenever we open like the first one, so like open the application, the view that we show at first will show us all the records. If there are all any records, we'll see all of them. So if there are no records, what happens then, we'll also know what happens then. So what happens is like the mapping that is empty, when empty mapping is called, this method runs, and into this method we take all the records, we take all the records from student repository, we assign them to records object, and then we add that particular attribute into index. So we don't add into index, sorry. So what we do is like we create a model and then we add an attribute to the model named as records, which contains all the records from the student repository. Afterwards, when we call this like, so we return index. So what happens is like Spring is intelligent enough to know that index is some view name, then it will append .ftl to it, and then it will come to this particular view. So into this particular view, so what we are gonna do is like we are gonna open it with text editor. So at this particular view, what happens is like our free marker would come into play, and then it says okay. So this records object that was provided by the model, it is, so since it is multiple records, so we know that there would be multiple records, it is some kind of list or anything. So we iterate through it, and while iterating, what we are going to do is like we are creating a single table. So a table, so first row for table is first name, last name, simple values. Then this records has items, so list records means for loop, go through the records, and items of those records, like one by one go through them, and each item should be a student. So I mean you can give it any name you want. I gave it student so that we know that this is a student object, that's it, nothing matter. But this particular name should be as we have provided into the model. So records should be records. Now what we are doing is like we are going through each name, each record, and then we are showing student first name, last name, email, and everything. What does this particular thing do? We'll go into it later. So from here to here, what we are doing this now. So if there is no records, then the else part would run. If there are records, this would run. If there are no records, then else part would run. And in else part, we are just showing that there are no records found in the database. So there is a link here. it is for get record, and then there is a link for add record. So these both links, how they are going to work, we'll go through them later. First, let's go and check how this particular records list is working, like how is it being shown. So we run our application. Now we go, we say localhost. There are no records found in the database, which means our this part is running just fine. So we'll go into the add record and get record and everything, then we'll also view the application again. So for now, just close the application and then go into the view part. Now, so if we want to say, let's go into index part. So here there is a link which says add record. So a link that gives us that maps to add record method. So when we come into add record method, which is this one, so this add record does nothing, simply returns us this new record page. Into the new record page, if we go into the new record page, we'll see that there is a form that maps to, when clicked on submit, that maps to new record. So this new record is this one, this mapping. So what it does here, we'll do that later. For now, that new record would come here, that is to be kept in mind. So there are like 6-7 fields with some labels, with some names, first name, last name. What we'll do is like we'll provide values for them. Once we are done with the values, so once we are done with, so it's like, let me make it, so as you can see, this method, there is a method. So there is a form. Its method of submission is post. There can be that can be something like put, something like get, something like delete. So these are how the form submission works. So form submission needs a method, so we are giving it post. Then the name of this particular form is student, and this action is add record, new record. So what happens is when we provide all these values and we press submit, we'll go to new record mapping. So the action is new record, and this new record mapping, how does it work? We'll come here, and the form, the object that we submitted in the form, so whatever values those are, those all values will be collected. So this model attribute is doing what? It is going into the student form. So this particular form is named as a student. It takes all the values from the student form and it assigns them to the student object. So it takes first name, last name, second name, assigns them to the student. So it will go take the first name value, first name field, assign to the first name, take last name field, assign to the last name, take email, and then provide it to the email address, email field. So for these we need to have the bean values, bean fields with the same name. So you have to be careful, you have to provide same names, otherwise there would be errors. We cannot find that particular bean to assign, and we cannot find that particular field to assign to the bean or something like that. So now we have all the names and everything. Once we have them assigned to this student field, so we have a student object, what we have to do is like simply call student repository.save method. If we go into the student repository, you can see there is no save, there is no save method. So what it does is like it goes into the MongoDB repository, then it goes into the CRUD repository and it saves here. So without we providing the implementation for it, it does its on provide. So this does it all on its own. So we don't have to take care of these things. We just have to call it and do our job. So a new record would be saved. So let's go and check if it works or not. So once the record is saved, we redirect it to the main page. So the main page reopens. So it does not stay at that particular form. We just go back to the main page. So once we call this particular redirect, it goes there. This mapping is called, which means this mapping, and it gives us the index page. So let's go check, add a new record. Application is up and running. No records. So we go into add record. We say Chris John at gmail.com. His age is like maybe 35 years. We say save record and we get our record here. So if we want to add another record, we just go and say foo bar at gmail.com, and foo bar is like maybe 100 years of old, 1000 years of old. We say save record. There is another record. So first name, last name. As you can see, when there were no records, the other part was running, other part of the application was running, which is this one. And when we have records, this particular part is running. So what happens is, like, when we create the add record, it comes to, when we click on the add records links, it comes here, it gives us new record page, which is this one. We submit the forms. Once we submit the form, the action that is called is new record, which is this particular one. So, and this is post mapping, so that we recognize, the method recognizes that the method that is it, the method of the submission of that particular form is post. So it gets the object that was submitted into the form. So the form that was submitted is a student. So it takes all the values of a student form, assign them to the student. So the condition is the fields of the forms are same as a student object. Once they are there, it just saves into the repository and then goes back to the main page. So this thing is working just fine. Now there was one more. So that particular link get, how does get a link work? So let's go. What it is doing is, like, when we click it, we get this particular record. There is remove, edit, homepage. We are not going into the edit and remove now. For now we are just going into the get part. So when we click get, we get that particular record. So let's go. We click get, we get this particular record. We click get, we get this particular record. How does it work? So let's go back. When we click this particular link named as get, what happens is, like, we go into the get record, and we concave with the get record, we are also passing an ID. So this particular ID is a field of that student object that is passed. And how does the address looks? So when we click on it, the address looks something like that. Get record with ID as appended. So when we click this, our method goes into the get record. So let's go. So this get record runs, and with it, the field that is appended is ID. So that field is ID. We know it is named as ID, but how do we assign that ID to a variable? So now when this get record method is called, this particular method runs at this particular mapping. So this path variable does what we need to be done. So that is, take that particular ID, assign it to this particular variable. So the variable that was forwarded with the request from the view, from the mapping, it is saved into that variable named as id, and we get our record with that particular id. So what happens is like we find the record by the id from the student repository. So we get our student repository record, we assign it to student record using the model. So we pass another attribute. It is the same thing that was happening here into the find all records. So the thing that we need to note here is like this particular mapping part, whichever value is in that particular mapping part is assigned to this particular id variable, and using that id variable we are getting the record that we need to be getting. So once we have our record, what we do is like we save that record as a student attribute, and then we call view record. So into view record, which is this one, so once view record is called, we go there, and we have a table, first name, last name, and everything. So we are showing our first name, last name, email, age, and everything. Now afterwards what we have is like we have remove records. So there are three links, how they work. So home page is same, just calling a particular link, and then it just calling slash, which means so it will go into that particular mapping that is same as the index page. So let's go into the remove part. How does remove part work? So let's go check the removal part. If we click on remove, it is removed, and afterwards it goes into the home page. So let's go again and remove this one too. So we are here back again, no records. So what happens is when remove record is called, so that particular string is mapped to a handler, which is this one. So we remove it, and the id of that particular record is passed. So how do you know the id? So it is the same. Let's go. So it is a student id. So that student id is passed to that particular variable. We get that value from that particular link mapping. We pass it to the method delete by id. As you can see, delete by id is also not our method, is already provided by the CRUD repository. We are just using it without providing the implementation. So we just delete it and it is gone. After deleting, we go back to the main page. So let's go add another record and then check the editing part. Now we go and we click on edit. So let's go into the view record part. Here when we click on the edit, what happens is it is same as the previous one, but here what we are doing is like we are calling the edit method. So once we call the edit method, everything is same except the view that is being returned. So we come here, so we do edit record, we get the id variable. Based on that id we get our object, we assign it to student, save it as an attribute into the model, and call the edit record. So now when we are into the edit record, so it is same as adding a new record. If you go into adding new record, that particular thing and edit record is same. There is a little different. So we'll go into the difference and maybe you can understand it without any problems. So it is same, named as a student, form name, method is post, perform edit, which means when the method is submitted, perform edit should run. And in perform edit, what would happen is like we'll take the form names as a student, we'll assign all the values to the student, and then we'll save. So how does it edit the record rather than adding a new record? Because this is same thing that is happening into the new record. How does the magic work? So we'll go through it and we'll give you the main idea what is happening here. So let's go edit records. So we have first name, last name, everything is same. So we have a little difference between those both forms. This form does not have a value field, value attribute. This form has a value attribute. Into the value attribute, what we are doing is like we are providing the default value. So what would happen is like we'll have a student first name, last name, email address, age, and everything. We also have the ID, but it is hidden field. Hidden field means it will not be shown, but it is already in the back. So we'll be using that particular field to edit the record. So how does it work? Let's go edit it. So you can see it is same. So when we click on edit, the record is same. There is another field named as ID, but that particular field is hidden, so it is not visible here, but that is in the back. So you can see that this is bar 1. Let's do it again, make it foo1. So how does it work? When we click on edit, it comes to this particular mapping, gets the record, gives us that particular edit record view. Into the edit record view, it assigns all the values to the fields. So once we have fields, every field, one of them is hidden field. So hidden field is like, how does hidden field work? Let me just show it to you, so that it is clear what exactly I mean by that. So let's not make it hidden, let's make it text, make it ID, and assign it student ID. So what is happening is like so the hidden field is how does it work? That is what I'm going to show you. So when we click submit, we get our student ID field assigned to the student ID. So now we have a student ID. What we do is like, so student ID is already assigned to our object. So when an ID is already assigned to an object, what happens is when we call the save, it will actually go look for that particular ID, and once it finds the ID, it just replaces all the values into that particular object. So it doesn't add a new one because the ID is already there. So it is not a unique ID, it is already there, it just updates the values. That's the magic. So let me show you what I mean by the hidden field. So let's just run it again. So let's go get edit. You see, this is the ID. If we don't show it, if we don't make it text, it is already there. So now when we remove text, it is there but it is not visible. With the text it was visible and it was there. So now it would not be there, but it is still there. So it is like hidden from the view, but on the back it is already there. So how are we using it? I'll debug it to show you how does this magic work. So let's go again to the home page, get, edit. As you can see, it is not there. So edit record, the age would be updated to 27. So now home page and everything. Now let me show you the magic with the debugger. So let's end it, use the debugger, go to the view handler part, put a breakpoint here. Now let's go to the get and click the edit. Once we click the edit, we provide those values, foo something something something, and we say edit record. Once we click the edit record, you see our program has halted. Now we can see what is there in the student. So let's check the student object. Sorry. Here. So as you can see, student age is 26, that was updated. New values foo bar 4, foo 4, which is this one. Bar is 3, which is this one. Email address is already there, which is this one. But there is no ID into that form. But like I said, ID is not visible, but it is being passed as a hidden field. So you can see the ID of that object. So the field ID is of that object is already there, which is this one. So this is the value of that ID, as you can see. So what MongoDB does is like it gets the record with that particular ID and then it updates it. So once we have the ID, since the ID is already there, so the new record is not added, rather it is updated. So updated with the new fields. So this is how our application is working. Let's go through it again, just a quick view. So how application is working, adding new records, showing and all that, and let's see how does it work. So run it, go there, so get it, remove it. This is the beginning, no records, add record. So A B C Gmail 23. So one record is added. We can add as many records as you want. Let's get this record, edit this record, make it Majid Ali Khan. The age is wrong, so let's go edit the age, maybe make it 26. There are 2 records with that name, so let's just go and remove this record. Let's go edit this record and make it something sensible. Make it maybe 44, edit record, get record, home page. So this is how the application is working. What we can do is like maybe we can add another field which says remove all the records. So let's go and instead of like add records, let's do something like, so what would happen is like it should return this particular thing, remove records or remove all. So when we call this particular method, what should happen is like we should, so student repository dot so delete all, So we need to create a link for it. So let's go. Remove all, delete all records. So let's just stop it and run it again. Let's see how our method works. So now there are 2 records already there. Delete all records, there are no records. So add records, you can see that, and this is how it is working. Now we have to add records. Get it, we can add it. Now it is how it is working. As you can see, there is no validation, so you can do that, would be kind of your homework. You can add validation here on the fields, and how the validation works and all that, those can be done. So yeah, this is the summary of all the lectures those were given previously. Now as you can see that we have gone through from the beginning to the end, like we know how everything works, we know that how component is working, we know how id is working, we know what does document mean, we know that how mappings are assigned, we know how the views are called, we know what is auto-wired, we know what is controller and how it works, we know that how repository is working. We can also use find by name, first name, last name, these things. So these properties and everything, I hope everything is fine. Maybe if I get the time, or if we have enough demand, maybe I'll create this, or I'll change this particular application, simple application, into microservices. So we'll have with microservices we'll use a Docker container system. So what we'll be doing is, like, we'll be creating a Docker, so we'll be creating a Docker based application in which we'll have 2 services. One of those services would be our application, this particular application running in jar, so running as a single container. The other application would be MongoDB running as a Docker container. So that would be like 2 microservices running into a Docker containerized system, which will give us an exposure to how the Dockers and Docker microservice architecture system works. And we'll also get to know basics of Docker. We'll be debugging the containers and everything, so that might happen anytime. So for now, I hope you enjoyed this particular journey, and I hope you liked this all. If you have any questions regarding anything, please feel free to ask. And yeah, I will be available to answer on the YouTube comment section. So if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to ask there. I would be like regularly visiting it, so that I'll be able to answer them on time. Otherwise, I hope it was nice journey. I wish you all a good luck with Java, Spring Boot, and FreeMarket and MongoDB. And I hope you can do your lecture, your projects or something. I would recommend you to go through it and do some little projects with it, with all the knowledge that we have gathered. There is no I would say this is just a start. If you continue working on it, you'll be master in no time. So just get on with it, do it, be better, exercise, that's what makes us perfect. And that should be like how we can get better with the knowledge that we already have. So thank you very much for your time, and maybe in future we meet again. Until then, goodbye. Have a great journey ahead with your skill development in Java, MongoDB, and Spring Boot and all that. Bye bye. Take care.